Travel and Tourism Summit will take place from the 15th to the 16th of May 2009 in Florianopolis, which is in Santa Catarina, Brazil. At this event, leaders from travel and tourism from the private sector and governments from all around the world will actually come together to discuss a series of issues and challenges facing travel and tourism in this time of turbulence, but also towards ensuring the opportunities are grasped for the longer term, and to discuss these under the theme Real Partnerships, Energizing Economies, where governments and industry can work together.
We still are sitting around 20% of all international arrivals are youth travelers, and that's an industry that's worth something like about 650 billion a year. What we know now is that young people have much more ambitious plans before they set out, and we know that they know a lot more about what they're going to do when they get there because they study it, they use the internet. So whereas maybe you and I would have gone traveling with just a ticket in our pocket, probably didn't even book a hostel, certainly I didn't. Today, young people go out there and they know exactly all the different types of things that they want to do. They know where they're going to stay. They know what they're going to see. So they're very much more particular, and they like to mix their experiences. And we know that young people are going out there to explore, of course, as always, to have some fun of it, as always. But they'll also learn a language when they're there. They're just as keen on cultural sites and understanding the heritage of countries. They'll try to volunteer if they're there. Many of them will work when they're there. Some of them will do other kind of adventure programs like they always have done. So it's a diverse experience. It's just as long as it always was. We know they're still traveling by, on average over 50 days for an average young traveler. So with youth travel, I think what we do know is that the last generations of young travelers are bringing up the generation of travelers today. So the young traveler of today has a lot more support for their ambitions than we ever had. If they take off to travel, they've got parents supporting them, they've got post-secondary institutions usually supporting them. They've even got employers that value the idea of people going out and having work experience and are trying to accommodate that in people's work schedules. So we do know that young people have a lot more support, and we do know that it's still one of the strongest personal development experience that a young person can have. Well, it's still a travel card that's carried by many million people. We still issue about 4 million ISA cards a year around the world, but increasingly the ISA card is now positioned as an everyday travel card and an everyday lifestyle card. So the proposition here is that the ISA is supposed to fulfill all a young person's lifestyle needs, and travel is one of those important ones. So the ISA card is co-branded with universities, it's co-branded with banks, it's a student union card in some places. So we have probably about 60 or almost 60 to 70% of ISA holders are using their card every day when they're at home, as well as traveling. Most international cultural attractions now give discounts on the ISA. And yes, there's a wide variety of other day-to-day practical things, including a lot of new online deals. So we have new online deals with, for example, Microsoft, where people can download developing software for people studying in science or engineering or computer science. We have a new arrangement with MasterCard, so many more students, some hundreds of thousands, will be getting an ISA MasterCard. So there are new kind of co-brands developing in that regard. We are going on the assumption, a widely held and now proven assumption, that youth travel will be less affected than the mainstream travel. So there will be some decline in the number of young people that can travel for economic reasons, but compared to the industry, it'll be a much less dramatic decline. The youth travel industry is more resilient to this kind of economic pressure. We surveyed the industry in what we're calling our industry monitor survey, and we determined that there was a downturn of about 2% in the last quarter of last year, and people predict about the same downturn in the first quarter. And we'll be surveying them every 2 months now to monitor the status of the industry.
What's your website address? Is this information available on there, even for non-members?
Yeah, sure. Actually, yeah, we have the industry monitor on there. It's www.wysetc.org.